There's just something about Tim Curry in an outrageous costume that leads to something great. Let's get into it. Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the show. It's Saturday, and although it is dreary and overcast, it's still quite awesome because we got ourselves a movie to talk about today that is both super and awesome. Ridley Scott's Legend from 1985.
Something really special that I've been promising to show you. Always go now, because I'll only be here for a short while.
Don't you trust me?
I trust you, Lily. Nothing is more magical. As long as they roam the earth, evil can never harm the pure of heart.
Starring a very young Tom Cruise in the lead role, the man was arguably overshadowed first by the beloved Mia Sara in her debut role, and then definitely by the towering Prince of Darkness portrayed by none other than Tim Curry. Although the film flopped at the box office, grossing about $23.5 million on a $25 million budget, it has since garnered the attention it deserves, a certified cult classic. And like so many other films from the 80s, it had a profound effect on a very impressionable youngster growing up in rural West Virginia. Let me tell you what. Now, the story is set in motion when Darkness, portrayed by Curry, launches a great scheme to cover the entire world in night by snuffing out the light of the remaining two unicorns. And by snuffing out, I mean murdering them and hacking off their horns. I mean, it's the 80s. We don't pull no punches. Darkness sends out his goblin henchfolks, Blix, Pox, and Blunder, to carry out this nefarious plot. They've been instructed that innocence is the lure that will draw out the unicorns. Then they can jump the creatures. They find this innocence in the form of Princess Lily, portrayed perfectly by the beautiful Mira Sara, and tail her as she does her usual thing. Lily goes to visit her first dwelling boyfriend Jack, portrayed by Cruz. Why Jack lives off the grid like the Unabomber is never explained, but I always felt like he was one of those babies left to die in the woods, and then the woods kind of took care of him instead, and now he's this crazy dude running around out there. But Jack wants to impress his girl, so he's going to take her to see the unicorns. This is quite the windfall for the goblins trailing them, as there is no way in hell they just intuitively knew these lovers would lead them to the unicorns. It's a fable. It's not meant to be slavishly consistent, so whatever, it's fine. What follows is one of many bizarre, dreamlike sequences in the film, which are very well done by Ridley Scott, but don't make a whole lot of sense on paper. It's a visual thing. You just have to go with it. Basically, Lily goes to touch the unicorn, Blix shoots it with a poison dart, and it runs off. We pivot first to Jack berating Lily. The unicorn got shot, but she's just laughing it off. Don't ask me. I didn't write the thing. And then says she'll marry whoever finds her ring, which she pitches off a cliff into a lake. Without hesitating, as there's probably no blood left in the man's skull being around Mia Sara all day, Jack dives off the cliff into the lake to find the ring. Lily is flipping out, but you have to ask, you didn't expect him to do that. Come on. At that moment, the poison unicorn has laid down, no longer able to run. It sends off its mate so the two of them won't be caught. And the goblins usher in an age of ice and snow as they chop off the poor thing's horn. It's portrayed beautifully in the film, but it's really dark stuff, especially to a kid. But I digress. Now, as this ice age descends on the land, Jack is still down there trying to find Lily's ring. Trying to weather a blizzard in a summer dress, the princess is forced to retreat. And when Jack tries to make the surface, he finds a sheet of ice he barely manages to break through in time. We flip the script here as Lily, who's taken refuge in a cottage, gets to watch the goblins from secret celebrating their victory and playing with the magic horn. She gets hit with the revelation she was the bait for the stallion, and how, since the mayor's still alive, the mission is not complete. The goblins rendezvous with darkness, and Blunder decides he's a bad man with his magic horn. Makes a play at overthrowing darkness. That doesn't end well for him. Meanwhile, Jack meets up with some other forest dwellers, fairies and pixies and such, and gets handed the quest to retrieve the stallion's horn from the surviving mare. The party all goes to suit up with some secret armor, and they leave one dwarf, Brown Tom, and these are not your standard dwarfs, they're more like fairies, to guard the unicorns. Lily goes to warn Brown Tom of the goblins' plot, and they all end up captured. Then we swing back over to Jack's party, who've come across a hag named Meg Mucklebones. Jack flatters the old girl and then decapitates her. It's freaking rude. They survive that only to be dropped into Darkness's dungeons, where they find Blunder, who is actually a dwarf in disguise. And Una has to reveal she's able to change forms in order to bust them out. Meanwhile, Darkness has been putting the moves on Lily. She's not having any of it until she's driven the man out of his gourd. Then switches tacks by agreeing to marry the demon only if she can be the one to kill the unicorn. Again, because it's me and Sarah, Darkness just blindly believes this about face in the gal, and they make preparations for a murder. Now, moving about the secret. Jack's party finds all about this, but Jack just can't swallow it. Regardless, they have a sacrifice to prevent, and off they go. Not surprisingly, Lily was faking it, and she cuts the unicorn loose. Darkness has had enough of her nonsense and tests out his pimp hand on her. Unforgivable. Then Jack and Darkness have a throwdown where we find out two-handed swords trump bare fists. But not before we get an absolutely epic line from Curry.
You think you have won? What is light without dark? What are you without me? I am a part of you all. You can never defeat me.
The horn is restored to the unicorn, winter ends, and Jack finally retrieves Lily's ring. Now, here's an interesting point. There are 3 different endings to this film. In the American version, Jack and Lily run off into the sunset together with the fairies waving and Darkness laughing in the background. Darkness's laughter is absent in the European cut. And finally, there's the director's cut, which is extremely hard to find, where Jack and Lily agree they're from 2 different worlds and decide to just keep things casual, both returning to their respective lives. I grew up on the American ending, and it'll probably always be the one I'm most endeared to, but that's just me. Not shockingly, the film was inspired by and conceived of as being a fairy tale. Scott's original vision was literally a hermit who is transformed into a great hero when he battles the darkness and frees a trapped princess and releases the world from a wintry curse. It's pure Grimm's fairy tales right there. He decided to do an original story as, in his words, it was easier to design a story to fit the medium than bend the medium to fit an existing story. Like train drill workers to be astronauts as opposed to training astronauts to be drill workers. But I digress. Scott worked closely with writer William Hjortsberg, and 15 scripts later, they finally had something to work with. Scott wanted a Disney-like presentation and even offered the film to Disney, but at the time, the Mouse House was much too bright and family-friendly for Scott's vision, so they passed. At the time of the recording of the film, it had the largest makeup crew ever dedicated to one project, and it shows. Actors had 3 dedicated folks working on them every morning for an average of 3.5 hours. Curry's outfit took 5.5. I mean, obviously, just look at those stunning practical effects. Oh man, I miss practical effects. The stuff took an hour in a bath to melt off at the end of the day, and in fact, one particular day, Curry wasn't in the mood and it tried to just tear the stuff off. Finding out the adhesive, if not dissolve first, takes skin with it. Ouch! Scott had to film around the guy for a week while he healed. Sadly, the film would end up flopping. To this day, it's lambasted for its flaws, where it attempts to keep the eye busier than the mind. And that's a fair assessment, but also an unnecessarily harsh one. Remember when I said it's a cult classic? From the dreamy, surreal quality of the filming to the jaw dropping sets and makeup to the sincere and whimsical performances, this film is incredible, absolutely unreal, unforgettable. I've watched it hundreds of times. Yes, it has flaws, but one film doesn't. I've mentioned the most important ones already, so y'all are exposed. But it's also very niche. It's a love it or leave it film. Fortunately for me, I love it. It's trippy, it's unique, and just plain awesome. I rewatch it every once in a great while. Add into the fact this DVD is dirt cheap to pick up. Both copies I've had throughout the years being snagged from yard sales and flea markets. There's no great excuse not to at least try it and see if it's something for you. That's all I got to say on the matter today. I do thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have been awesome giving me a moment of your time. I appreciate it. Now, it's Saturday, so bust out some cartoons today. Keep the tradition alive. While you're at it, put in a good film, roll some dice, bust out some games, read a comic book, gather around the table, and make some memories. If it's not raining too bad, maybe get out and get some fresh air too. But as always, have a good one.